The first thing was that the site had to determine the response to how you built on that site, and the gently sloping but well-wooded site was very important in terms of the relationship of the applied planning as well as the terms of how you use materials on the site. The ethos is extended to the detailed design of the elements and finishes, and in particularly the building envelope must have a sense of openness and yet a simplicity and structure, a sense of structure, dimensionally controlled, but at the same time not imposing on the use of space. To be able to have that controlling mechanism but still keeping a humanized component to it, where a family feels they can actually change things. Life is not about living in somebody else's dream, but actually being able to change it to your own needs. The living room area and the family spaces are interconnected in a flow of space, but each individual room has its own privacy and quality to it. So there are the external spaces, which are safe and covered spaces for children to be able to play in safely, but at the same time they are able to relate to the whole space with art, and that's why the use of materials, the cement floors are dealt with as for all the open spaces. The external spaces are a stone material, slate, and then the internal bedrooms are compact and small with timber flooring. So it is that use of materials to define spaces without actually constricting it to the conventional use of materials in a way which keeps the simplicity to it's minimalist, but it actually also allows for interpretation. The external use of face brickwork was something which I've used. The entire external envelope is the same brick, both internally and externally, but the outside is the outside of, similar to an egg. The outside is the maintenance-free side, and the inside is white, which allows you to be painted over the brickwork, but expressing the brickwork still in such a way that the anything you add to it, the paintings or the artwork, actually sits against a background which doesn't conflict with it. The question of the relationship of elements is each material was to be expressed for itself and to have its own life about it without being compromised. There's no, everything is expressed for what it is, and it's not, in fact, any covering up of materials or anything like that. Everything is expressed for what it is. So there's a certain honesty about the materials and the use of those materials. It's a house which I would have designed for myself in many ways. And at the same time, it was to respect their individuality, but to allow them to be able to express it in a way which it was a framework for them to live in. It will change in time, and that's why the house has to be a quite strong and simple design without actually being overcomplicated, because it actually can allow for flexibility and change over time. I think that the site and the people actually are what you respond to when you design a house. In a different context, a different site, and a different even culture of people actually changes the design and how you express that in the materials as well as in the planning. And the planning and the materials are fundamental to making of architecture, but the people actually are the things that differ in each case.